And in closed session, we took a few actions, and Trustee Williams, we have the outside. Which relates to the chance, oh.
No.
No, I'm sorry, that one first,
yeah.
yeah, go ahead, the one that you got up.
Okay, in closed session, the board unanimously took action to approve the termination of employee 7165.
Which other members have readouts? You have the readout? Okay, I want to take the ones that deal with other employees first. Thank you. Other than top employees, we have other readout? Go ahead and read that out.
In closed session, the board took action to approve settlement of workman's comp claim number 1655060016, number 514406, and number 541124 with employee number 8275.
Okay, and do I have any, can't get it, there it goes. Do we have any other readouts other than for top employees? Members of the board, anybody else have a readout they have to read out? No others? Okay, then we'll go with readout relating to the chancellor. Who has that one? Gloria, because you made the motion. Okay.
In closed session, the board took action to approve a separation agreement with Chancellor Bruce Barron. The Chancellor's last day shall be December 31st, 2019, and will be paid the remainder of his contract in accordance with Government Code 53260. The vote was unanimous.
Okay, and the next, no, I think first I'm going to recognize Chancellor Barron.
Thank you. Dear students, faculty, staff, and friends, just a short time ago, I informed the Board of Trustees of my decision to retire at the end of December 2019, and they accepted my request. This was not an easy decision for me, nor one that I came to lightly. It has been an honor and a privilege of a lifetime to serve as Chancellor of the San Bernardino Community College District. My tenure at SBCCD spans a decade, an achievement in itself, given the mean tenure of district leaders of about 5 years. SBCCD has become a top-performing district in every sense of the word: student success, fiscal stability, competitive salaries, new facilities, and notably, the free college promise, which provides free tuition and textbooks for local full-time students. As a first-generation college graduate myself, I'm acutely aware of the hardships that make college attendance an impossibility for many in our community. To be able to say that SBCCD is making real progress in ensuring that opportunity is no longer out of reach for those in the Inland Empire, and to have played a role in that is truly humbling. The state of the district is strong, and I will be departing on a high note. Together with the Board of Trustees and executive leadership, we have expanded our reach and our investment in our community. We are among the first in California to offer free 2 years of student tuition, as well as textbooks for hardworking students in our community. In 2018, our community passed Measure CC, a $470 million bond to fund safe, secure, and state-of-the-art classrooms and labs where students received the education and training needed to reach their full potential. We received the largest workforce training grant from the California Employment Training Panel. San Bernardino Valley College and Crafton Hills College collectively earned 22 awards from the California Community College Chancellor's Office, recognizing 22 job training programs proven to boost the income of graduates by more than 50%. Our faculty and staff are invited to speak across the state and the nation, and we have successful partnerships like Generation Go, which provides paid internships and career pathways for students, and many others. Through ongoing sound fiscal management, we are in a strong position for growth, having earned an upgrade in our credit rating twice in the last 2 years. We are statewide leaders in sustainable energy programs and the first in the California community college system to pilot a zero net energy program. We're the only district in the state to have a partnership with law enforcement and Caltrans to provide a reentry initiative so that parolees can stay out of prison and build productive lives.
And I can ask you, Chancellor, if you can hold off, skip your next paragraph.
Okay, will do.
And go directly to your last one. The reason will become
Yes.
apparent soon.
Okay. Well, thank you for a remarkable 10 years. It has been my honor to work with the board and with all of you, and I wish everybody great luck and future success. Thank you.
Thank you, Chancellor. I am going to respond to that in a moment, but first I have one more readout. And who's got that readout? Okay, Joseph.
In closed session, the board took action to appoint Jose F. Torres as the acting chancellor. His first day will be on January 1st, 2020, and the vote was unanimous.
Okay, thank you. On behalf of the Board of Trustees of the San Bernardino Community College District, we want to thank Chancellor Barron for 10 years of leadership and educational service to our community. He will be missed. Chancellor Barron's tenure has been marked by major wins for our students and our community. 10 years ago, our community was devastated by the impact of the worst economic recession since the Great Depression. Chancellor Barron rose to the challenge and kept our district fiscally sound, strong, without layoffs to our faculty and staff. Fast forward to today, Chancellor Barron has secured the foundation of our future, and we are very grateful for everything that he has done. He kept our doors open so that we could provide high school graduates and unemployed adults the opportunity to compete in the new economy. The board has appointed Executive Vice Chancellor, as indicated, and Chief Financial Officer Jose Torres to serve as interim chancellor while we begin a national search for a successor. Jose joined the district in 2013 and currently oversees the district's $200 million operating budget, including financial planning, business services, internal auditing, facilities, and human resources to facilitate the success of 27,000 students and 1,200 faculty and staff members. We have every confidence that Jose will carry the torch forward and that together with the Board of Trustees, campus presidents, faculty, and staff, the district will continue to thrive. As we prepare to launch for a national search for our next chancellor, we are committed to having an inclusive and comprehensive selection process. We will form a committee of district leadership, faculty, staff, and students of diverse backgrounds to provide input on the candidates, as well as hold public forums for our community to meet the candidates. The district is strong. We're increasingly resilient and committed to providing access to affordable, award-winning higher education and career training programs for the Inland Empire. Thank you all very much. And, excuse me, and take a photo, yes. We're going to do that, and then we will have some comments in just a moment, Joseph, okay? So we're going to take a photo with the chancellor and the incoming chancellor as well. If we can do that here, in front of the podium, or in front of the lectern, rather. Well, actually, it's not the lectern, the dais, excuse me. Actually, yes, the dais. Podium requires a place for your feet. That's a lectern.
over here, so center up. Great, Bruce. All right, can I have you, sir, over behind Gloria? Yeah, over behind Gloria. And actually, can I have you, Tilly, right next to Bruce? So make a little bit of space for him. Okay. I think, yeah. Could I have you right next to Gloria, right? Yeah, you. Thank you. Can I have you guys move a little bit towards my left? More, a little bit more, a little bit more. Sway. And everyone on this side face like they are facing towards this. Yeah, you guys are perfect. Can you face like they are facing, please? The other way?
Facing this way. Not toward the camera, toward us. Okay. A little bit. Thank you.
Smile.
Well, is this the first photo we've taken in this new location of the board standing under the dais? I think it's going to be the first time that we don't have a mural in back of us with all this stuff that makes the photo confusing. So, all right.
Moving it in here, it'll be here.
The mural, wonderful, wonderful. Well, since I won't be chairing the meeting, I'm not going to be too concerned about it. All right, here's the agenda. Okay, and right before we broke off, Trustee Williams had sought recognition.
Yeah, and I have to take personal privilege. I got a new baby to go see, so I'm gonna step out. And I just wanted to congratulate the Chancellor and say thank him for his years of service. We have been able to work for the past 6 years and have developed a friendship. We haven't always gotten along. It's been rocky sometimes, but on the things that we've agreed about or together, we've been able to accomplish a lot. And so I just wish you success in your retirement. It's not really welcome, but look forward to working with you, Jose, in the new capacity and excited about your growth. And thank you. And so I am going to excuse myself.
And
Thank you, Trustee
one more
Williams.
question, Trustee Williams. What is the new baby's name?
Her name is Zaya Ania Williams.
Zaya Anil.
Zaya Ania Williams.
And
She
how
was-
old precisely is she now?
She was born yesterday at 12:35 p.m.
Okay.
So
that's right.
however old that is.
Yeah. I don't know. We got some pretty important stuff here for you to attend to, Joseph. I don't know. But I guess we can, I can guess we can, I mean, it's not like he has to feed it, or, Take care. All right. I didn't see anybody else that had sought recognition. I believe we've done all the readouts on closed session. And on agenda items, at this time, are there any public comments on items that are on the agenda? Anybody submitted any steps? Okay. Then at this time, we are ready for the organizational meeting of the board, at which we will elect the board president, vice president, and clerk of the Board of Trustees. And so, first of all, for that, if I may be permitted, I would like to go ahead and nominate our vice chair, or vice president to take over as president. Dr. Ann Verisel, I'm sorry, excuse me, I didn't think it was necessary, but I would like to nominate Actually, we don't, there's no requirement for a second for nominations. Yeah. So the only question is, are there any additional nominations? If there are none, without objection, cut off nominations for that and call for the vote. So all those in favor of trustee Vericel
we have
becoming president?
Advisory first.
Trustee, student trustees first?
Aye.
Aye. Two ayes. And remaining members of the board, all go ahead, let's go ahead and do it individually. I don't usually go through this, but to vote like this, I want to. Frank?
Aye.
And, Trustee Houston. And are you willing to vote for yourself? Are you worthy of a vote? Sure. Okay, that's it. That one sure. So we've got an aye,
Aye.
a yes, and a sure. Okay. Okay, trustee. That was trustee Singer. Trustee Harrison was an aye. And and I'm an aye. So that is unanimous with one absence. And we move on to congratulations. The swearing in of the new officers will take place at the January meeting. And now we go to vice president, since you're going to be vacating that position. And for vice president of the board, was there someone who
Yes.
had? Okay.
I like to nominate for vice president of the board, trustee Stephanie Houston.
Okay. Trustee Stephanie Houston is nominated. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, without objection, I will consider nominations closed and call for the vote. First, student trustees?
Aye.
Okay, and then let's start at the other end this time. Trustee Singer?
Aye.
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 Okay, again, unanimous with one absence. And trustee Singer?
For clerk, I'd like to nominate trustee Gloria Harrison.
Okay, we have a nomination for trustee Harrison for clerk. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, without objection, nominations are closed. And on the motion, I'll start again with the student trustees. Okay, and starting at that end with? Aye.
Aye.
And also unanimous again with one absence. And congratulations to our new officers. And I'm going to save a lot of time coming in the future. Let's see, organization meeting of the board presentations, there are none. Reports, board committee reports. Do we have any board committee reports? I don't hear any. Board. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Where am I? Excuse me, I'm so sorry. Thank you very much, Trustee Houston. Assignment to the, the election of the, we only did 8.1. I'm skipping over 3 more items here. Assignment to the Regional Emergency Training Center Joint Powers Authority. I think I did that when I first got on the board. I don't even remember. Who does that currently? Stephanie, and do you wish to continue? And is there anyone else who is desiring to challenge that? Hearing none, I believe these can be done by simply appointment by the chair. Is that correct? Or how do we have to do this? Do we have to have a formal vote? Okay, then we'll do a vote. And first, is there any objection to the nominations being closed? If not, I'm sorry, let me put it in a different order. I will nominate Stephanie, and is there any objection to closing the nominations? Hearing none, then I would ask all, first, student trustees, do you favor the selection, assignment of trustee Houston?
Aye.
I have 2 ayes. Everybody else, is there anyone who wishes to be recorded as abstaining or voting no? All right, it is unanimous with the exception of the one absence. Then for the board representatives to the nominating committee for the County Committee on School District Organization. And currently we have Ann Vericel and Joseph Williams are both, Joseph is here. Is there anyone who wishes to make any changes there? Anyone desirous of making any changes? Okay, I haven't heard any interest from anyone of a change, and therefore, hearing none. Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion from trustee Harrison to just continue the two existing appointments, which are, I'm sorry, Ann and Joseph. Okay, and seconded by, are you, Ann? Okay. Okay. Oh, no, you're on it. Let's, seconded by trustee Houston. And is, student trustees, are you in favor of that?
Aye.
Both? Anybody else who wishes to be recorded as abstaining or voting no, please say so. All right, it is unanimous with the exception of our one absence. And then moving to the next one, which is the, let's see, board committees. Board committees, okay, and those are, at the moment, all right, legislative committee is Frank Reyes, Ann Vericel, and myself. Is there anyone who wants changes there for the moment? For the moment, okay. Okay, for the moment, those then, do we have to take a motion to reestablish them, or do they just stay in place if they're not changed? We need a motion a second? All right, does someone care to make a motion to reappoint the ledge committee members?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
Moved first by, who was it? Houston. First by Houston, second by, who was it? Singer. Okay. He stuck his hand up. So, okay, I have a motion, a second. Student trustees, all in favor?
Aye.
And remaining members of the board, is there anyone who wishes to be recorded as either abstaining or voting against the appointment of the ledge committee members to another year? There being none, it is unanimous with the exception of the one absence. Finance committee is, as constituted at the moment, Gloria Harrison, Donald Singer, and Ann Vericel, with student trustee Gerard also on there, although for purposes of a quorum, his presence doesn't count because of the fact that the law doesn't allow him to vote. So is there anyone who wants to change there? Anyone?
Is anyone else interested? Because I'm willing to abdicate that position.
Is there anyone who would like to take over the finance committee slot? Anybody who's interested?
I was just saying that I would give up my seat if somebody else was interested.
Anybody interested? Going once?
I'll probably end up being at most meetings.
Oh, all right, so
so-
are you willing to take over?
Sure.
All right, then I am going to presume here, trustee Vericel just nominated that we reappoint Gloria Harrison and Donald Singer and Elijah Gerard, and we add trustee Houston. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, that was the motion, and seconded by trustee, let's see, who's not on the list, seconded by our, okay, thank you, by our student trustee, and is, first, what is your recommendation, student trustee?
Aye.
Both ayes. All right, and for the remaining board members, anyone wishing to be recorded as abstaining or voting against those selections? No one is. It is unanimous with the exception of our absent member. And that takes care of all of those. Note that, it's conceivable at some point unexpected things can cause us to make changes sometimes in officers and committees and things in between sessions, but this is intended to be an annual process. So I believe we are set on that one and ready to move. Okay, folks, did I miss any, aside from the remainder of items 8, and we've now hit presentations, reports, I said board committee reports, I heard none. One? Okay. Trustee Reyes.
As all of you know, that we're very fortunate in getting a $35 million grant to the state. We also received another $3 million, so we're going to have an announcement from the EDA soon, depending on when the individual that works, Will Marshall, will be available. I think it's, again, it indicates that this district is doing extremely well. In addition, we belong to an organization called HAKU, Hispanic Associations College Universities, and they work very hard to try to get funding. And they were successful, and I just got this information 2 days ago, that they were able to convince the Senate and the Congress and the Senate to put in another $255 million for Hispanic serving institutions, historically black colleges, and tribal colleges. So it's going to be up to us. And I take a great deal of pride in saying that we need to be assertive when it comes to that, because it's first come, first serve, but it's also how effective we write the grants. And so I'm going to be working with the two presidents to make sure that we submit those, because that's going to be primarily for what you call the STEM program in addition. So we want to be able to take advantage of any opportunities. And I want to thank Chancellor Bruce Barron, because he has been very supportive of activities like this, and that's the reason why we have been very successful, because he pushes and he encourages people to get involved. And I encourage the faculty members. This is where we all have to work together so we can get monies for Crafton Hills College and for San Bernardino Valley College. So I'm very grateful that we are members of the Hispanic Association of College Universities. And it's a major victory, and now it's up to us to put together an advisory committee and look carefully at the parameters that are set by that particular federal agency. So appreciate that very much.
Okay, any other board committee reports? All right, board information requests. Is there anything that anybody needed to follow up on? If not, we move on. Key performance indicators. All of this is in writing in our books. Is there anything that anyone? Let's see. The Chancellor's good news. Anything there, that, Bruce, that you wanted to note? Okay, we can go on to the Valley College Academic Senate. Do we have a report from the Valley Academic Senate? Okay.
Boy, you guys sure know how to change my report. I've been making all kinds of notes now, so. All right, so, Chancellor Barron, thank you for 10 years of service and your dedication both to the district and to the campuses. We will miss you. Jose, my friend. I got 6 more months in this position. I'm looking forward to working with you. Trustee Reyes, if the campuses had the same resources, the same human resources as EDCT has, we might have enough people to go out and write grants. Well, we have one grant writer, and our faculty are teaching classes. So it's hard for us to really go over with a fine-tooth comb every grant opportunity available. If we put some money our way so we can hire people who can do that work, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Like I said, you guys just blew my whole report. I was going to be so friendly. No. I just want to say it was good to see some of you at our President's Tea today, our fundraiser. And I wish to announce that after a 21-year losing streak, I won a basket. Maybe the event hasn't been going on 21 years, but I have been here 21 years and never won anything. So I'm really happy with that. Okay. So we're winding down. We had our last Senate meeting for the year earlier this month. And some of the things we've decided that we're going to be focusing on in spring is we're going to be taking a real hard look at moving the CTE General Education Equivalency Toolkit that has been developed in cooperation with the Statewide Academic Senate and the CCCO office to screen in more candidates for faculty in the CTE disciplines. It will be a 2-Senate cooperation process that'll probably involve faculty in the entire campus, and then we'll have to move it through the APBP process. So we do expect it to take all semester, but we are planning to work on that. We're also working on advancement in rank in conjunction with Crafton Hills Senate to align our processes and get that documented in our APs and BPs as well. We're going to be, of course, working on accreditation. Our visit is October 12th, 2020. And I actually have that memorized, not because it's our visit, it's because my son has that day off school, and I will obviously not be spending time with him. I will be here doing accreditation. And the other big work in spring is to, as I said last time, to take a harder look at what EdCT and PDC are offering and where there might be overlap with the colleges. I did get a list of EdCT offerings, so thank you for sending that as requested and in a timely manner. I really appreciate it. Some of the things just initially that we saw is the machining classes that are being offered through EdCT. We have a machining program at our campus, and we are doing machining curriculum non-credit going through right now. So there's some overlap there. Computer-aided drafting. There's a series of 8 classes in communication skills. If someone came to EdCT and took those classes, they would put in 144 hours. Well, we have 3 communication study classes that deal with communication skills. We have interpersonal communication, which is Comm Studies 111. Comm Studies 174 is intercultural communication, and Comm Studies 140 is small group communication. Each of those is a 3-unit class, 54 hours per class. So someone could do 144 hours at EdCT, but they could have earned 12 units at Valley College from, an accredited institution taught by faculty who meet minimum qualifications. So, we think that those type of students should come to us to generate FTES. I didn't discover it. Our curriculum chair sent it to me. It's a website called Ed2Go, and it is branded with the SBCCD logo, so it gives the clear appearance of being from a college institution. And one class in here is the Microsoft Excel series. It sells for $324 if somebody wants to take Microsoft Excel online. Well, we do offer Excel on campus. In fact, we have Excel as credit and non-credit, so a student could take and learn Excel for free, and we would get the FTES, which would improve our budgets. And we actually have a whole Office suite program for non-credit. So we're going to be looking in, there was one more, I'm sorry. There's a math class that's being offered through this Ed2Go, which seems to be part of the PDC. And they list the teacher's credentials, and I just wanted to tell you that that teacher would not be qualified to teach on Valley's campus, on Crafton's campus, and they don't even meet minimum qualifications to teach non-credit on our campuses, yet they are teaching classes through this website that is branded SBCCD, and I think that students have every right to expect that they are getting an education from qualified faculty as determined by the CCCO office, and earning credit. And if they're paying $324 for a class, that's a lot of money for an online class that's unaccredited. So we're going to be looking into this a lot. Hi, Jose. Boy, Bruce, you left just in time. Also, we finished our program review needs assessment process, and I brought the list with me. I didn't get it printed out in time to share it and get it to the board book, but I will get it. And one of the things that's been a real concern on campus is how to stop this from being a wish list and how to actually get things funded. The first item in our classified wish list is for a research analyst. And just so you know, the district has 2 research analysts. You have 138 employees. Crafton has 2 research analysts. They have 9,079 annual student count according to the CCCO Data Mart for the 18-19 school year. Valley has 1 research analyst. Our annual student count for 18-19 was I'm really bad with numbers, give me a minute here, 19,308. And we have 1 research analyst. Crafton has 2, district has 2. So how do we get this #1 ranked request for classified actually funded and filled? We make these lists all the time. Every year people are putting in a lot of work, and very little happens with them. Our faculty, our top two faculty are physics and child development. I was able to access some numbers for 17-18 for child development. Child development has load for 16 faculty. They have 3 full-time faculty. In 17-18, 47 students earned degrees and 21 students earned certificates. So this is a happening program. They are moving students through, they're having completion, they're graduating. We have 3 full-time faculty running a program with load for 16. So again, how do these wish lists get turned into reality? There are several several faculty on this list that, where there are currently faculty in Strong Workforce, on Strong Workforce Fund, but they're still submitting their program review because they know they're losing those faculty at the end of the Strong Workforce Grant. They have grown their programs, expanded them, and they're going to lose their faculty, and those programs are going to shrink again. So what is the point of seating faculty and equipment and everything with Strong Workforce if it's just going to go away? So faculty, department chairs are hopeful. They're still filling out the requests. They're following the process. And this process is an integral part of our program review, of our accreditation document, but we don't always see the fruition of the process. So we have 29 faculty, 32 classified, a number of budget and equipment requests. Our number 1 budget request is textbooks for the Student Success Center. Why should we have to request money for that? Our number 2 request is embedded tutor services for the Writing Center. Again, with AB 705 and guided pathways and all the changes going along right now, why are textbooks and tutoring having to go through program review to get funding? And then, once again, I note that chemistry and biology have requested something called spectrophotometers. Okay, this is on every single program review I've ever seen. This is equipment they need to teach. Why do they actually have to put in program review requests for this? Why isn't the equipment being replaced as a matter of course at the end of its life? So that's program review. All right, I'll get you a full copy of that list for your next board meeting. And, all right. Wow, that's it. So again, congratulations on your retirement. You've worked hard. I hope you enjoy it. If you thought you were working hard before. Oh, I know what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask when we get an interim Jose to be the executive vice chancellor. His load is already so huge as executive vice chancellor going over finance and HR that I surely hope you do not expect him to also be chancellor and those other 2 things as well, and that you have an interim employee that is going to be taking over for Jose's duties.
Thank you very much, and although it's not on our agenda tonight, let me, if I may, assure you that the board is fully aware of and intending to take,
Great. Thank you.
intending to address it.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Longo. I appreciate that. All right, thank you. Have a good holiday, everybody, and we will see you again in January.
Thank you very much. And moving on then to the San Bernardino Valley College Classified Senate. No report? Okay, then we'll go on to the Valley Associated Students. All right, and before I move on to Crafton Hills then, let me just quick acknowledge, it appears that we have a class from Valley attending here tonight. Dr. Milliken, is that correct? Can you have your students, can they all stand so we can see that they're here? Quite a few of you. Thank you. Well, you are among the first visitors here. We've just started meeting in this new location, and we're still getting used to it, including how the microphones work. So it's a kind of an experimental pilot program you're involved in here tonight. Thank you all for attending. And let me then move to the Crafton Hills Academic Senate.
Good evening. Just some updates on what's going on with our Senate. We are working on both campuses on Board Policy 7210. I mentioned this last year. 7210 has language in it about what an instructor is called when they hit the campus at first. And in most positions, you're called professor if you're hired full-time. In our district, you're referred to as an instructor. And we're having faculty members have problems with things like membership affiliations, opportunities, applying for grants, because when they apply for a grant and they call to check to see if they are a professor or not, they're being told, no, that person's not a professor, they're an instructor because they haven't hit tenure yet. And so we're working on changing the language to actually fit the roles that people do. Both campuses are working on this, and it seems like most of the things going on are being agreed upon. We had a power outage. I think everybody knows about that. It was odd, the timing of it, because Valley had just had their big issue on Friday. Our Senate is in the middle of the process of writing a resolution on safety, asking for the administration and the board to step up and do some things to make it so that we can lock down the campus so that people feel more secure and more safe. And so it was just kind of nice to see this conversation that's all building up and then actually have a chance to see something happen. The effects of the outage for faculty were pretty minimal. Things were communicated very well. There was a little confusion between teaching faculty and non-teaching faculty and when people had to report back, but otherwise things went pretty well. Mike Strong's office, I know I'm leaving out a lot of people because I've only talked to a few people about it, but Mike Strong's office and our police department really did a lot and did a lot to keep things secure and moving the way that they should. What I like to see coming out of this is instead of us just yelling at people that we're grumpy that stuff isn't done, things are actually happening. And so I have started attending our local Crafton Safety Committee, and we had somebody from Valley present. People are actually talking about this district-wide. So I think some good things are coming out of this. Because of the power outage and the holidays, our Senate schedule has become completely out of whack. So our next meeting will be in January. So I'll have more to report a couple of board meetings from now. The last thing I wanted to report on is the Promise Program. The Promise Program has still got a lot of frustration attached to it. I don't know a single person that doesn't think that the idea behind the Promise Program is wonderful. Students love the idea, faculty love the idea, counselors love the idea, counseling faculty. It's a wonderful idea. The frustrations are coming out of our counselors who are exhausted because they are just slammed with work, and big questions about budget and staffing and how long we can sustain this program. And so we're just constantly looking for any information we can get on how are we funding this, how do we plan on funding this next year, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, so that this doesn't just become a big money pit. And that's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let's see, I was next at the Crafton Classified Center. Okay, no report. How about Crafton Associated Students? All right, no report. CSEA?
Wow. Really? I walked in here, I'm like, Bruce is retiring? Right? My mind is completely blown. I didn't think that was going to happen anytime soon, but I certainly hope the best for you. I just talked to Kevin and Ginger, and they were like, whoa, we'll make sure you wish him the best. And then our concern was also we want to make sure that Jose doesn't wear 3 hats, I guess, at once.
Yeah.
So he's not completely overwhelmed. That was our concern as well, but you guys seem
Many
to
people are concerned.
are already addressing that, and
All concerned about it, including Jose, I'm sure.
I'm sure you can see the concern on his face.
Yeah, yeah.
His face never changes. He's always smiling. Okay. So then I wanted to welcome Jose, and we look forward to working with you. And we've been working pretty well with Bruce, and we hope to continue that working relationship. I know that I'm about to get to safety, but you've been really great in supporting us on that, and I really appreciate that. And I hope that that continues. I want to invite all of you to the holiday party for CSEA, and we're having it here. Across that wall on the other side. We won't be messing around in here. We'll keep it nice and clean. We're going to do a very good job with it. The meeting, we have a meeting that runs from 5 to 5:30, so don't come during that time because we're having a closed meeting. But at 5:30, then feel
What
free
day?
to.
What day?
Oh, I'm sorry. Monday.
Monday.
So Monday the 16th. So it's just a few days away. And everybody's invited. I know Bruce has already said that he's coming. I'd like to see as many people who can show up. It's going to be just fun and food and good old classified. We'll be nice, I swear. So I did want to update you guys. I promised I would update you on safety progress on the safety issues. I know that Mark mentioned quite a few things. There was a draft. So in kind of capturing the procedures, management is looking at AP 3505, which is our emergency response plan. There was a draft. In fact, at the last board meeting, I saw Mike Strong over there on his computer making adjustments to this very policy. So they're being very proactive about making sure they're reviewing it. And I know the police chief has been involved. That has only gone through management. So it's now coming to us for collegiate consultation. The Valley Safety Committee we have received the updates and we're reviewing them, but we haven't had the chance to sit down and talk about them because the updates came after our meeting. But Crafton actually did have the opportunity to look at them, and there were some really great ideas that floated around. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take that information and bring it to our Valley College Safety Committee. So here's some great ideas. What do you guys think about this? And then go from there. I know that we're convening a special district-wide safety committee just to address this, and we're bringing all of the constituency groups of those safety committees together. But those are just the leaders. We want to make sure we bring it out to the groups themselves and make sure that they're okay with it. But from what I'm getting so far, they're liking it. We actually really like the version that came out. There's just a few little details that we need to add to it. So we're pretty happy with that. Oh, I was the one who attended the Crafton meeting, which was really great. I attended my own Valley Safety Committee, but to see how it's done at the other institution was really good. And the conversations that they had, it was just right after their blackout. So like you said, it's sad, or it sucks that this happened, but it's so good that both incidents at both campuses happened, so we can look at it and go, oh, okay, where do we go wrong and how do we fix it? And we're all like laser focused on it right now. So that's been really good. That's all I really had to say. We should have something to present, possibly district assembly in February, but I'm not sure it'll actually be done by then, but I guess that'll be Jose's problem by then. We're pretty sure we'll have something solid by March at the latest, but we're hoping for February. That was all I really had. I remember being at district assembly. It was my first year there, and I was actually there the day that I think Noelia left. And then you were the executive vice chancellor, and then you got promoted. And I just can't believe that's been 10 years now? Yeah, it really has. So. Yes. Well, good luck.
And I especially appreciate hearing about how things are going on the safety issues, because when I first was elected to the board in 2008, that was the first issue that I was confronted with as a new board member. There were other things that I had talked about when I ran for the board that I considered to be my most important priorities. But I quickly learned that we had, and statute of limitations is passed by now, that I don't have to be so concerned about talking about it, but we were out of compliance with a lot of safety stuff. We really had been not adequately taking care of equipment, including in the chemistry labs. I mean, I can remember one of our chemistry instructors taking me through the lab and showing me a piece of equipment with an inspection certificate on it. The equipment was supposed to be inspected every year. I believe it was the equipment for washing your eyes if you were splashed with chemicals. And the last inspection certificate on it was over 10 years old. So I quickly that and also one of the employees at Crafton who had a lot of stuff dealing with chemicals over there showed me how they stored stuff. There were a lot of problems. Bottom line was, it became a passion for me to try and deal with it, and I couldn't get anything to happen until Bruce became chancellor. And he immediately did get on it. And we ended up, there were a few personnel changes that resulted from that, which were badly needed. It was one of the things I'm proudest of as an early accomplishment. I can remember sharing with my colleagues the newspaper headline from UCLA where a student had been killed because they were unsafely transferring chemicals from one beaker to another. I mean, this is not insignificant stuff. And so Bruce, from the very first time that you came in as chancellor, that's one of the things that always will stick with me is I could not get anything done about it until you became chancellor, and I appreciate it. And
I applaud you for your leadership there, and also this classified staff. I think the classified staff have been the conscience of the district in that regard. Sarah Miller before you, and I know you kind of took over the mantle when she kind of went out of that, but really classified have been really vocal and great partners in making these things happen.
I want to say, he just reminded me, and I don't know if I'm on the right podium, but you were the reason why.
you know what, can I ask?
It's
I would
about
not ask you to, except it makes a problem for the minutes later because they can't pick up your voice.
You were actually the person who came in when we had an issue in the HLS building. And until we brought you in and you smelled the smell that was going on, you said, no, this needs to end right now. And now the building is clear and there's no contamination from chemicals anymore. So we were able to take the signs down. And none of that would have been possible if you wouldn't have been, you put your foot down and say, no, this is unacceptable. And I sincerely, I didn't think about that at the moment, but he reminded me of it. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that.
That was an early accomplishment that we tend to forget about these days. And my gosh, it's been so long since Sarah left. She was one of those folks who was what I consider to be an extremely valuable complainer. You know, a very, very valuable complainer that every operation needs. I have not forgotten CTA. And so if Crafton Hills, or no, I'm sorry, CTA, do we have anyone here from CTA? Okay, then that takes care of all of our reports for the minutes of November 14th. Do I have someone who wishes to move adoption? Second by? Okay, and is there student trustees? What is your?
Aye.
Aye vote? Oh, she had to leave, okay. And remaining members of the board, is there anyone who wishes to be recorded as either abstaining or voting no? So it is unanimous with the exception of our absent trustee Williams and our absent student trustee. And we move on to the consent agenda. And, well, we've got a bunch of students here. I'll go ahead and read this. The consent agenda is expected to be routine and non-controversial. It will be acted upon the board at one time without discussion. Any member of the board, or staff member, or citizen can request that an item be removed from the consent agenda for discussion. Is there anything that anyone wanted removed from the consent calendar? All right.
Move for acceptance.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Elijah?
Aye.
Aye. Other members of the board, anyone wishing to be recorded as abstaining or voting no? Hearing none, it's unanimous. Instruction, student services. Chancellor, is there any of items 12.1 through 5 which require oral enhancement?
No, consent agenda is,
Okay, so with all of it, I'm sorry, we've adopted, excuse me, item 13. I skipped over here, folks, I'm getting silly. Item 13.1, review and reaffirm guiding principles for the FCC auction proceeds. And who's presenting? Yes, it's an action item, 13.1. We approved. Yeah, we approved the consent calendar. We did take the vote, Stacy, is that not correct? Yes.
I'm going to turn that over to Executive Chancellor.
Okay.
Why is this on the agenda? Or do you want to talk about it? The Finance Committee?
If we're on action.
Yes, well, I guess we're
We're on action 13.1.
Action item 13.1, review and reaffirm guiding principles for the FAA auction proceeds. On page 271, I move that we reaffirm the guiding principles. Part of my motion, and I don't know exactly how to state it, Mr. Chair, is that I don't think we need a first, second read on that. I think we are reaffirming I know that somebody mentioned to me that there wasn't flexibility in it, but there are. There's a flexibility if we need to change how we distribute those funds, then it has to come to the full board for all of us to vote on it. I don't think it needs a first and second. The principles have not changed. I think it needs to stand as is, and all we're doing here is reaffirming what we have affirmed last year and what we did several years ago when we came up with them. So I move that we reaffirm, not as a first read or a second read, but reaffirm, period.
I'll second the motion.
Well, excuse me, but I'm concerned it is that it be properly actable in that way on the agenda. It's listed on the agenda for a first reading only. Can we take action of a different sort to simply reaffirm the principles instead of passing a first
Okay,
reading?
so, Mr. Chair, what is
Yes.
it, how am I supposed to do it? As a substitute motion? Because there isn't another motion
Yeah, I know.
for a first read.
The only concern I have is whether, given that it's listed on the agenda as a first reading only, if we took action which entirely dispenses of the matter, people who expected this was only going to be the first reading, theoretically, because I don't think there is such a person, but theoretically would not have been properly notified.
The point of
That's- Go ahead.
the point of a first read is so that if there are comments, we can take it into consideration. The fact that there weren't any comments on this, we can move to approve on the motion.
We can move to approve, damn, I wish I had an attorney here, and he left.
So would we need a motion to amend before?
That's the motion which Trustee Harrison is seeking to make, is a substitute motion which would be to reaffirm the policies for this. Can I ask,
Well, it's different between 13.1 and what's in
yeah,
the book.
can I ask that we, if there isn't a problem with this, can we restate this and put it on, and just table it and do it next month the way that you're suggesting?
Yeah,
Because I don't think there's any urgency to do it, and I want to make sure that it's done in the way that meets all the requirements.
I'm not a Robert's Rules expert at all, so that's why I was asking the chair. Unfortunately, we received the board book so late that we could not make the correction or bring it up to the executive committee for them to look at. So I don't, if we do it next time, it's as if it went to a second reading, you know?
So what we could do is.
So I'm asking the chair, to accept my motion that this is for us to reaffirm these principles, not as a first read, but as just reaffirming them, period.
It's.
Now, I think
I
that's
appreciate-
possible, but I'm not an
I appreciate the
expert.
suggestion. I have a couple of concerns about it. One is for a theoretical citizen out there, but in addition to that, for myself, my understanding is that we have just, or at least I have just received information that there is a significant
Typho.
perception on the part of our major financial supporter for our broadcast operations and so forth as to our allocation of resources, that has been raised as an issue.
Yeah.
I don't want to just, without discussing that. have
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if there is a significant issue that has to do with KVCR and the distribution of funding, then it requires the board to have a report with facts for us to consider, since we're the policymakers, in order for us to put together a plan to mitigate whatever complaint is coming to us. So it does not change the principles. And if there is a need to make some emergency correction, it's already in the principles. It just needs to come to the board, and we then take a vote on it. So it's not as if it's inflexible. It's not as if it's going to hinder some action in the future that has to do with the organization. Again, if I had received the board book with plenty of time, I would have seen that and said, no, it should not go as a first read. It should go as a regular motion. All we're doing is reaffirming something we have gone through a process to come up with these principles. So I'm concerned about this. I don't,
Well, let me pass
because
along.
it seems to me that we're trying to do a first and second read to correct a problem that is not even on the agenda.
Trustee,
that hasn't been
we have
discussed.
we have an inquiry into the attorney by phone right now, and we are going to have, I believe, an answer very quickly. If we can suspend this for just a moment, move to our next item, and come back to it, I believe we will have legal advice.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask that, without objection, we're going to move from, let's see, what is this item? This is 13.1, move to 13.2, and let's see, that is board policies on immigration enforcement activities, bids, contracts, et cetera, analysis. These include requirements of the education code, current laws, et cetera. District Assembly agreed to move these forward. It appears to be non-controversial.
I'll move approval of item 13.2.
Okay, I have a motion, seconded by Trustee Viracel.
13.2.
13.2, board policies, first reading. All right, Trustee Gerard, what is your recommended vote?
Aye.
And Maritzka's still not here. Members of the board, is there anyone who wishes to be recorded as abstaining or voting no? Hearing none, it's unanimous of all members present. And moving on to 13.3, board policies on page 291, which, and as I'm turning to the page here, is there any controversy associated with this one, folks? This looks like it's all
It's a second read, so.
second read. So, okay, this one is second read.
It's the district assembly and the process.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Trustee Gerard, what's your recommendation?
Aye.
Other members of the board, is there anyone who wishes to be recorded as abstaining or voting no? And it therefore is unanimous. And do we have the attorney on the phone yet?
You do?
What is the attorney's recommendation? That we can move forward changing the motion? Okay, all right. Then the motion, I'm going to return then to item 13.1, which is going to be a motion to simply to reaffirm the guiding principles for the FCC auction proceeds on a motion by Trustee Harrison.
I just need to make a point of order, or do you need a second
Please,
before that?
No, it's already been seconded, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. My fear is just, as we look at 13.1 and then we look at the subject line of it, it says review and reaffirm here, but at the subject line it says review and reevaluate for a first reading. So do we need to amend the language of it?
Interesting.
Well, I don't know that, but I am personally,
To table?
I am not, we've got the attorney's okay to be able to handle it this way, and this is the intent and the desire of the maker of the motion, Trustee Harrison. So that's what we're gonna be voting on. In light of the fact that we have scheduled, I believe, for the end of January, our
January 30th.
yeah, our KVCR retreat and stuff, it seems to me like, I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse here. We're essentially sending the cart on and telling it we'll come up with a horse later. If we're going to be reviewing these things next month at a retreat on the KVCR, how we're dealing with KVCR, it doesn't seem to make sense to me to reaffirm past decisions right before we do the retreat. Go ahead, Trustee Harrison.
Mr. Chair, I am not aware of the details of whatever may be a problem or a source of changing the, because it's not on the agenda for us to make that discussion. What we are affirming here are what we went through a process and we said these are one-time funds and we are going to use them in the following ways. And there is enough flexibility in the language for it to be changed when there is a serious problem that needs to be taken care of. So there isn't anything in here that prevents us from looking at a problem, coming up with a solution, and then coming back to the board so that we have full discussion of the full board and everybody is aware of whatever it is that you're referring to. So that's why I would like to see them reaffirm. There isn't anything in these policies. I know that we discussed somewhere, I don't remember which meeting it was, for us to touch the corpus. And one of the things that we said when we got these monies was that these were one-time monies and we were going to work off of the interest for the interests of our students and our district. And so I don't have before me any plan, any analysis, nothing that would change my mind about what these principles refer to.
Absolutely. I first Trustee Singer and then the Chancellor.
Well, I agree with Trustee Harrison. We're talking about principles. And obviously, principles can be changed. And if we need to do that, we can do that at a subsequent meeting. But in terms of collateral matters, the chair talked about a retreat. Now, the President Executive Committee might have talked about it, but I, as one board member, am not familiar with it, the date, to whom we selected, the topics, and I would hope that before we get into a definitive mode, the full board as a body discusses that.
Okay. Chancellor?
I think we're okay with Trustee Harrison's recommendation, and I'll reassure the board president by looking at number 9. It does say principal.
I'm sorry, what page are we?
Oh, I'm sorry, on page 272, principal number 9. Does say principal amount shall not be used as a resource for ongoing expenditures unless approved by the Board of Trustees.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is a significant funding problem that we discuss at the retreat, we can come back with a recommendation to the board to take money out of the corpus, and it just needs to be board approved. So I think that if there's a plan, there's room for the board to take action to approve it.
All right.
So I think we're okay.
All right.
I think we're good.
All right, I don't see the need for reaffirming them at the moment, but that's not a problem. Trustee Versel.
Having the principles in place is actually, in my opinion, a good thing for our retreat
Okay.
because it's foundational
Okay.
and we've already have them, so we can draw on them in our discussion and dialogue in the retreat.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sense to reaffirm them as was scheduled.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, is there any other discussion? Hearing no other discussion, the motion is made by Trustee Harrison, seconded by Trustee Singer. to reaffirm the board principles, guiding principles for the FCC auction proceeds. Trustee Gerard, what is your recommendation?
No.
Okay. Is there, on the, well, let's see, one no vote, okay. For the remaining members of the board, other than myself, because I don't see the need for it, and I'm going to vote no, but is there anyone else who wishes to be recorded as voting either voting no or abstaining? And I don't hear anybody, so I'm going to presume that it is a vote that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 1 with a no vote for our student trustee. So that is the official vote. And moving on to your information items. And applause cards up there. All right. We're not quite getting all of them yet, are we? There's more, there's got to be more there. So who operates that? Somebody behind the mirror there, yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, it's behind the mirror. Don't look behind the mirror, folks. Nothing going on back there, of course, right? All right. Okay, please do, Mr. Chancellor.
I do want to point out on page 349 and 350, there's an item about the refinancing of Measure P and Measure M. And
Yeah.
we underestimated when we announced it last month, the savings to the public on refinancing those bonds. And as you can see, that we are saving the taxpayers $47 million on refinancing those bonds, which is very significant.
$47 million is nothing to sneeze at. Yeah. Now, that's over a long period of time, you know. That's not like this year. Trustee Singer.
Having heard what the chancellor said, I do think that it's incumbent then upon the district, Mr. Angel, that the public recognizes that we're doing a wonderful job and saving them monies. Seriously. They always wonder, are we spending the taxpayers' monies wisely? And by gosh, the answer is yes. The public needs to recognize that, in my opinion.
The same article for the information item also talks about our increase of credit rating from AA2 to AA1 with Moody's, and that's the second highest credit rating, right? So we went up from third now to second, and we're one of the few community colleges that have such an excellent credit rating.
Well, we were at one time in fourth,
Yeah, we would start at fourth, third, second.
and we're now up to second, yeah.
Yeah, so just want to point it out.
That's another wonderful little thing, and I believe, I want to make sure I'm not missing anything here on our agenda. I believe that that's it, folks. Public comment on non-agenda items. Were there any public comments on non-agenda items? I don't see any, and therefore, our next meeting of the board is, well, it says study session on the 19th at 12 p.m. Is that correct? Okay, and so at this time, on a motion by Trustee Gerard, seconded, no, I want to take it, seconded by Trustee Singer. If he's acceptable to it, we will be adjourned. Is that acceptable to you?
Yes, sir.
Is that acceptable to you? Is there anyone who objects to a motion to adjourn? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
It was his last one.
This is my last one to be
With
chair.
authority.